Tonight, I want to talk about trusting in the Heavenly Father and walking in His perfect will or His permissive will. If you go to 2 Kings chapter 18, and it came to be in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, sovereign of Israel, and now you know Israel's the northern kingdom, and Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, sovereign of Yehudah, began to reign. So he began his reign in the 3rd year of Hoshea, the Israel king. He was 25 years old when he began his reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Abba, daughter of Zechariah. And he did what was right in the eyes of Yahweh, according to all that his father David did. He took away the high places, broke the pillars, and cut down the Asherahs, and broken pieces the bronze serpent which Moshe had made. And we know which one he's talking about, the one that he made in the desert on a stick for the people to look upon. It says, "For until those days the children of Israel burned incense to it and called it Nehashtan." You know, Hezekiah had the right idea. If you're going to take something and start worshiping it, it needs to be destroyed. If there's anything in your life that you're worshiping besides the Father through Yeshua HaMashiach, you need to destroy that and get it out of your life. So here, Hezekiah, he started out good. He started out great, following after David, following out after the Heavenly Father, doing all his commands and his statutes. So here he's in the Father's perfect will. He's following after the Father, and the Father's blessing him and protecting him and protecting Judah. And there's a lot happens between beginning of 18 to the beginning of 20 that the Father's hand was on Hezekiah. But Hezekiah had a lot of trials and tribulations through that time. He was constantly harassed by Asher, or the Assyrian armies, and the Father protecting him on many occasions. But if we dwell in the Heavenly Father's permissive will, we will not know His perfect will. If we dwell in the Heavenly Father's permissive will, we will not know His perfect will. Of course, if you dwell in His perfect will, you'll never know His permissive will. And I hope we all are in His perfect will, because I know for us to know if you're in the Heavenly Father's perfect will, you got to have a relationship with Him. Hold on. We got to have a relationship with the Heavenly Father to know His perfect will. And if you don't not in His perfect will, then you're in His permissive will. He's either doing things in your life or allowing it. If He's doing it in your life or allowing it, He's in charge. But if you don't know the Father at all through Yeshua HaMashiach, if you don't know Him, then you're just out there. You're neither in His perfect will or His permissive will. So if you're in the Father's perfect will, I believe that you will only know it if you are constantly at the Father's feet. Because if you're going to run around doing your own thing, then you're not in His perfect will. You might be in His permissive will, because He will allow you to do that because He gave us a choice. We can follow after Him or we can go out and do our own thing, which is not very wise. But so let's go to chapter 20 now. And it says, and in those days, Hezekiah was sick unto death. And Yahu, the prophet, or Isaiah, son of Amos, went to him and said to him, thus said Yahweh, put your house in order, for you are going to die and not live. And he turned his face toward the wall, and he prayed to Yahweh, saying, I pray to you, O Yahweh, remember how I have walked before you, walk in truth, and with a perfect heart, and have done what was good in your eyes. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. So now this might just be me, but here I'm saying he loves life more than he loves the Father. The Father's in control of our lives, whether He wants to raise us up or put us down, whether He wants to give us life or bring us to our ancestors to sleep. And Hezekiah here, he's crying bitterly because he doesn't want to live or die. He wants to live. And it came to before Yeshayahu had gone out into the middle court, that the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, return and say to Hezekiah, the leader of my people, thus said Yahweh, the almighty sovereign of David, your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. See, I am going to heal you. On the third day, go up to the house of Yahweh, and I shall add to your days 15 years, and deliver you and the city from the hand of the sovereign of Ashur, and shall defend this city for my own sake and for the sake of David my servant. And Yeshayahu take a cake of figs, and they took and laid it on the boil, and he recovered. And Hezekiah said to Yeshayahu, what is the sign that Yahweh heals me, and that I shall go up to the house of Yahweh on the third day? And Yeshayahu said, this is the sign from which that Yahweh does the word which he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees or go back 10 degrees? And Hezekiah said, it would be easy for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. No, but let the shadow go backward 10 degrees. And Yeshayahu, the prophet, cried out to Yahweh, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down from the sundial of Ahaz. Now, the Father has healed him, given him this 15 years. So now he's in the Father's permissive will. My perfect will was that you get your house in order and that you sleep with your ancestors. But because you have cried out to me, I'm going to permit it. I'm going to add 15 years to your life. And so he's out of the Father's perfect will, and now he's in his permissive will. And a lot happens when this 15 years, when he's in the Father's permissive will. A lot of things go wrong. A lot of things happen that is history now that otherwise would have never, ever been history. So in verse 12, it says, At that time, Bordok, Baladan, son of Baladan, sovereign of Babel, sent letters to present to Hezekiah, for the heart of Hezekiah had been sick. And Hezekiah listened to them and showed them the treasure, his treasure house, his silver, his gold, his spices, his precious oil, and all his armory, and all that was found among his treasure. There was not an object in his house for all in all his rule that Hezekiah did not show him. And Yeshayahu the prophet came to sovereign Yeshahiah or Hezekiah and said to him, What did these men say, and from where did they come to you? And Hezekiah said, They came from a distant land, from Babel. And he said, What have they seen in your house? And Hezekiah answered, They saw all that is in my house. There is not an object among my treasuries that I did not show them. And Yeshayahu said to Hezekiah, Hear the word of Yahweh. See, the days are coming when all that is in your house and all that your fathers treasured up until the day shall be brought to Babel. No object is to be left behind, said Yahweh. And they are going to take away from you, from some of your sons who are born to you, who you bring forth, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the sovereign of Babel. And Hezekiah said to Yeshayahu, The word of Yahweh which you have spoken is good. And he said, Is it is not so, if peace and truth are to be in my days. So here, two things happened. When the father healed Hezekiah, two things happened. The Heavenly Father healed him and had compassion on him, took him from a perfect will to the permissive will. From this point, we will know that the Heavenly Father's perfect will was not, because all that we know is the Heavenly Father's permissive will from this point. So going back to when the Father healed him, the decisions we make in our life have a path. Every decision we make has a path that follows that decision that we make. And if we're in the Father's perfect will, then the decisions we make show the Father's perfect will. And if we're in his permissive will, then the decisions we make follows his permissive will. And we can see the history of the path, but we'll never know the history of his perfect will because we're now in his permissive will. So we will never know his perfect will unless we get back on the right path with the Father. And he can do it. He's the only one that can do it. So if we look at the history of your life, the Father knows whether the Father has blessed you or not. So Hezekiah showed all these people from Babel all the treasuries of his house. Don't show people what's in your treasuries. You're just putting it out there for them to steal. You don't need to show everybody how the Father has blessed you, because it shows. If you're blessed by the Father, it shows, believe me. You know, but at this point in Hezekiah's life, This is toward the end of his 15 years. And his heart is now unconcerned, I would say, because of that last statement he just made. It's good. You know, at least I'm going to go to the grave in peace. He's not worried about the next generation coming down the road or what happens afterward. He's just saying that I will see peace in my days. So at the very end of his life, he's very unconcerned, very indifferent. I don't think he really has the Father in his heart like he used to. I don't think he's on his mind like he used to. I think he's probably consumed like, I've got 5 years left, 4 years left, I got 3 years left, I got 2 years left, only got a year left. And that's probably very distracting to him from seeking the Father, you know? So he dies. But what happens when he dies? The next king that takes his place is Manasseh, his son. His son is 12 years old. And if the father had not given Hezekiah that extra 15 years, this child would have never, ever been born because he's born 3 years into Hezekiah's added 15 years. And this king turns out to be the most horrible king in Yehuda. And he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem because Manasseh was 12 years old when he began his reign, and he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, according to the abominations of the Gentiles, whom Yahweh dispossessed before the children of Israel. Now, what did the Father tell us in the Torah? He says, do not do as they do when I bring you into the new land, because as the land spits them out, if you do these things, the land will also spit you out. And that's what happened. They were taken into captivity, not by the Assyrians, but by Babel. And there's a lot here that that Manasseh did, giving his children causing them to walk through the fire. Let's just read it. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, according to the abomination Gentiles, whom Yahweh dispossessed before the children of Israel. For he turned and built the high places which Hezekiah, his father, had destroyed, and raised up altars to Baal, and made Asherah, as Ahab, sovereign of Israel, had done. And he bowed himself to all the hosts of the heavens and served them. And he built altars in the house of Yahweh, of which Yahweh had said, in Jerusalem I put my name. And he built altars for all the hosts of the heavens and the two courtyards of the house of Yahweh. And he made his sons pass through the fire, and practiced magic, and used divination, and consulted spirits and mediums. He did much evil in the eyes of Yahweh to provoke. And he placed a carved image of Asherah that he had made in the house of which Yahweh had said to David and to Shalomo his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I put my name forever. So the temple, the glorious temple that Solomon had built, is so desecrated at this time. It's got so many altars to false deities in it. It's got so many altars to just about anything you could speak of, probably. that was a false deity. And he filled the house, the place, which was the Father's, with the Asherah. He did all this, and toward the end, he did get right with the Heavenly Father, but and that there's good. I mean that he got right with the Heavenly Father, and it shows us no matter how down we get or how down far away we get from the Heavenly Father, that He is able to bring us back to Him. But there was 55 years here that this took place. And it was at the end of his reign that he got right with the Father. And it's just, I don't know why the Father allowed him to reign that long, because I think he was probably the longest reigning king of Yehuda. And I don't know, but that's not my business. That's the Father's business. So no matter those around you, you see that are heading down the wrong road, there, as long as they got breath in them, there's hope. You know, Manasseh, the Israelite people still paid for his crimes against the Heavenly Father because they participated, and not the only participated, but we are under the leadership of those who rule over us, and we pay the consequences of their decisions. Now, the Father's hand of protection is over us as we're at this. It's just like when the when Yehuda is taken into captivity, and they took everybody, but they didn't take everybody. Those farmers out in the field that didn't go to the city, and didn't mingle among those who were contrary to the Father left them in the land. You know, the land didn't spit them out. They was doing right. But all those in the city and all those, it's just you'll see it everywhere. Crowds. There's two or three instigators, and then the crowds follow. You know, but those who really should have a voice, they stay at home. I know I do. I don't like crowds. You know, and I hate following after other people anyway. And I think we need to follow the Heavenly Father through Yeshua HaMashiach as He directs us to. But we need to be in the Father's perfect will. We need to seek Him out for that perfect will in our lives. That permissive will, it might get us through, and it might not. But I know this. I do know this. I do know the Father's in charge. And I remind myself often, and I let the Father know that He's in charge, because He is in charge. He's in charge of my life. It might not look great sometimes, but He's in charge. And as long as He's in charge, I know I can't do no better. I can't do no better at all. He's in charge. I accept it, you know, and I don't ask why. You know, and a lot of people, why me? Why me? I just think, well, why not me? You're in charge, Heavenly Father. Lead me, guide me, protect me. Take me where you want me to be. Help me to become that vessel that you want me to be, Father Yahweh. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this message tonight, Father Yahweh, this teaching, Father Yahweh. Father Yahweh, help us to know your perfect will for our lives. Help us to know how to do what's pleasing to you. Oh, we know how to do what's pleasing to you, Father Yahweh, by just looking into your word, into your Torah, Father Yahweh, through the prophets and through your Brit Hadashah. Father Yahweh, There's a lot of answers in there to our question. We just got to seek you for that answer, Father Yahweh. We need you to speak to our hearts, our minds, our spirits. And Father Yahweh, I ask that you'd lead us, guide us, protect us, and bless us. As we go home tonight, I ask that you be with us as we travel. And I ask you see us back here safely tomorrow for your Torah study, Father Yahweh. And Father Yahweh, I thank you for this Torah study, Father Yahweh, for it involves all of us, Father Yahweh, and you speak to each and every one of us, and you give each and every one of us eyes, eyesight or insight from our perspective, Father Yahweh. But it's not our perspective, but it's your perspective through our eyes, Father Yahweh. Father Yahweh, I ask that you bless your people, that you keep your people, and I ask that your hand remain upon RC, that you'd lead him, guide him, protect him. Heal his heart, his mind, his spirit, until such a time as you call him home to sleep with the ancestors, Father Yahweh. And I ask that your hand be upon each and every one of us, Father Yahweh, until such a time as you call us home to sleep with the ancestors. And let us love you more than life, Father Yahweh. In the name of Yahshua HaMashiach, so be it.